Right, admit. Now let's go back again to share platform. Okay, everyone on Zoom, do you see my screen? Thumbs up or a yes would help.
Yes.
Okay, beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, so I know that I've been getting a lot of questions regarding RentSpree and how to utilize it at a very high level. Okay, again, it definitely helps for tenants if you represent the tenants, and more so if you are representing a landlord or a owner that is trying to list their lease list their home, and how you can use the leverage of RentSpree for that purpose. All right, so this is the California Association's website. In order for you to dive into the actual platform, you log into your account. So first thing we do is log into the account. Once you're in the login, then you go where it says Transaction Center. You click on there, go to Business Tools, okay? Click on Business Tool. Then where it says Partner Program, okay, right here, you click on that, and that takes you to all of the partners that are affiliated with C.A.R. From here, you go to RentSpree. You click on RentSpree. And then this will take you to the top rated tenant screening for real estate agents, okay? If you have not registered, then it'll allow you to register for the platform. If you have a login, then you just click here, and that'll take you to the sign in. Because I have an account already, it automatically already takes me to the dashboard where it should show something like this. Okay. So this is RentSpree. This is the hub of where you can now start doing application screening. Okay, so you have your dash, you have your screenings, you have your properties, you have if you are an owner or have investments, or if you have property management, then you can also set it up where the tenants can pay their rent directly through RentSpree and collect the rent each and every month through bank account information such as checking account or credit card, debit card as well. All of your contacts. And then if you do end up getting the upgraded package deal, then it also can create marketing as well. Okay. First, you always want to go to your settings. Okay. You go to settings, click on your settings. And then this is kind of the initial process of how the system works. It'll take you to this new settings section, your personal information, your login, security password. You can always change it as well. Your subscriptions, if you have any partner accounts, such as connecting to different links, and I'll show you in a bit. Communications and how you want emails preference, privacy inquiries, and then automatic syndication for contacts. So first and foremost, click on personal, make sure your personal information is correct. If it isn't, you can always change it. Your login, this is where you can, change your password. Partners, okay, this is again where you have the ability to syndicate, and this is where your question regarding the MLS, okay? So you can connect your MLS, your zip forms, okay? If you have any others, such as the California Apartment Association, so it already has all of these where you can link, okay? Not that all of them are relevant to us. Us is going to be your zip forms and your California Association of Realtors and your MLS. All you do is just click on the link, put in your username and password, and what now it does, it links the MLS to your account. Okay, very simple. Any questions? Okay. Mhm. Yeah, so you have to go into the actual website of RentSpree in order for you to be able to link all of the accounts to it. And that's the cool thing about the partner accounts, such as if I go to my zip forms and I'm doing a lease, then I can connect the lease and the lease agreements and the applications into the system, and obviously through the RentSpree platform as well. Okay. So again, how you get here, let me just show you real quick. You go to settings. From settings, then you go to partner accounts. And then partner accounts, this is where you'll connect. You can unlink. If you're having any issues, okay, best troubleshooting is if you have any issues with merging any of your platforms, such as the California Association, your zip forms, or your MLS, then unlink it, refresh the system, and then link it back. Okay, so it's basically like a switch. It's an on and off switch. If you're having any issues or if it's not merging into the account, then just unlink it, refresh, and then link it right back. Okay. Okay, so now here are some of the features. Manage Pro. Again, if you wanted to do the upgraded, this is at additional cost. Now, only if you're doing this at a very, very high level, then I would encourage maybe do the upgraded Pro. Okay. With the Pro, it definitely gives you more enhancements, but the basic one that is already part is more than enough if you're doing basic rentals and submissions of applications. Okay, so you do have the monthly or the annual. If you do the annual, your monthly fee would be 1583. If you do the monthly, then it's $19.99. Okay. You can also refer and earn as well. So one of the cool things is if you're working with property managers and all that fun stuff, as a referring agent, you can get a $50 referral just for referring. So all you do is provide the email address and an invitation, and if they do end up registering or paying for the paid subscription, then they will give you a $50 credit. Okay. All right. Now let's go into our dashboard. So here's the heartbeat of the initial process and how you navigate that. You can start a screening request, okay? You can also help landlords collect the deposit. I don't recommend doing that. We're not in the property management, but it does have that option. Now, if you have your own personal investments and you run your own personal property management, that's a different story, right? But in essence, as a real estate company, we do not do property management, okay? But what you can do is start the initial process of having the applicant submit a request for renting a place. And how it's done, I'm going to show you a couple of ways and you can do that. You first have to set up the property, okay? You cannot just send a link to someone and have them. It has to be attached to a subject property. If you're the agent representing the landlord and you're going to be leasing the property, then you need to have the actual address inputted into the system, and then now you can start the initial process, okay? So some of the shortcuts that it has.
Raymond,
Yes.
when we are the lease listing agent, when you are putting the property on the MLS, they ask you if you want to do the rent spree, and automatically they will set aside the link once you already have the rent spree set it up
That's correct.
as a listing agent. You don't have to like redo it.
That is correct. But the only way you can do that, and thank you, Rosie, is if you have it set up through the actual RentSpree website.
That's correct.
So if you don't have it linked, it's not going to give you that extra shortcut and process. But you're right. Once it's set up, it's automatic. And now moving forward, it'll provide you with the actual link where an applicant can get the link, and start the initial process. Now, anyone can pay for the application, okay? I think the application is, and I'll double check, but I think it's like $49. And,
$39.99
okay,
and enhanced is $49.99. I do it all the time, so
okay, Rosie, you need to be teaching this class then.
now I wanted to see what else I can learn.
No, I appreciate it. You know, your insights definitely are a plus here. So yeah, like she said, you know, there's different options that you can also include as part of it as well. But if you're just doing a basic application screening, then it's a simple process to do so. But it also, one thing, it shows your professionalism as well, right? When you can say, hey, you know what, we have this platform that we use as a third party called RentSpree. We can now screen the applicant. And what does the screening process look like, right? Well, behind the scenes, it's a third party that ultimately gets all of the personal information, name, date of birth, social security information, and now it runs a thorough credit check, a background check, an eviction check as well. And it also, I believe it does where you want to do employment check as well. I think it has that for an additional cost. But we'll get into it as we dive into this a little bit more. Okay. So you can also create listing pages. All right, rent payments, client management, branding. You can also do rent estimates, okay, and then include as an optional rental insurance, okay, convert and messages as well through the platform. But these are all additional cost, okay? Not for the basic that you get as part of your member services, okay? That's where that $20 a month comes into play, or $15.99 if you do the annual payment in advance. Okay. So if I was to just click on here, you would pick a specific property. But before I do so, let me go back here again. Okay. Any questions regarding the actual hub here? Okay. Next is the screening, the properties, okay, payments, contacts. So let's go to the screening, right? The screening will tell you exactly how many people you have right now through this process, okay? As you can see, I don't have anything but one as an example, as this is the initial process of the initial screening process, okay? Then when you go to properties, this is where it's vital and crucial. This is where you're going to put and add the property in question. So if you have a property, as an example, I'll use this office, 23670 Hawthorne Boulevard. Okay, this is suite 100, okay, California 90505. It's going to ask, is this confirmed? This is the address you want to add to your platform. The answer is yes, confirm. Then it goes what your role is for this property. Okay. Well, my role is I'm the listing agent, I'm the renter, property manager, or the landlord. In this case, you would be the listing agent. Who is the landlord for this property, right? Then that's where you would pick someone as your client, right? Well, your client is, I'm just gonna say, Mr., excuse me, let's go here, Mr. Landlord, okay? Mrs. Landlord, okay? Then you're gonna need a website, or excuse me, an email, right? Now it's not picking this up.
Simon,
Yes.
when I complete that, I don't put their landlord email because they're going to be contacting them. I put my email.
Okay, so, well, that's because you're also a property manager.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah. You're in a different category. So obviously you're gonna be managing their property, then yes, any and all would go directly to you. So I get it. Thank you. So once you have all of that information, then it goes into adding it into your platform, right? So we're gonna leave because I'm not gonna add it as an example. Now, here are some of the properties that I have as an example of, you know, if you start building your pipeline, if it's your personal or if it's someone else's property. Now you keep all of it. You can also toggle from active to anything that you have in your archives, and also anything that has canceled whatsoever, you can navigate that as well. It also tell you for the specifics of the properties, how many have requested, how many have completed, how many have you shared, and then what is the action plan, right? Market the listing, screening the tenant, set up for lease, and so on and so forth. Okay, so it kind of gives you a gauge of what you're doing with the properties. Okay, payments here. This is again more if you are collecting payments for your client. Again, that's more of a property management, but it does have this additional feature that, let's just say that you own your own real estate investments, right? You can put them into the system, and now you have control of how tenants pay you and the request of, screening the applicant as well. Okay. Contact information. Here is all of the information. You can also add contacts as well. So let's just say, for example, you are, going to categorize a specific client, or you are having a book of business, and now you have tenants in place or landlords. Then you want to get this all set up, because then it helps navigate and keep everything all together in one place. The contact information goes into all contacts, stared, RentSpree, and then any recent activities. And then marketing here, it's more, again, an upgraded feature, but here it also where you can, put your professional profile and unlock additional platforms. Here, you can put in all of your information, like an intro bio as well, and it helps navigate the process a little better, because they get to see you as the professional, but also the system allows you to syndicate as well. Okay, all of the information goes in here. So again, if you're using this at a very high level, or if you're just doing a couple of leases every month or every other month, then this is just a great way to screen tenants and ultimately give a prospective landlord an opportunity to say, look, based on this is an applicant that I think would be a good applicant to rent. And that gives the landlord the opportunity to make a decision if they're going to rent it to that specific tenant, or if they're going to decline it as well. Okay. All right, so let's go back to the property in question, okay? So now you've set up your properties, and now we're going to go into the screening, right? So now what happens here is you have a couple options, right? Now it says, which property are you planning to do the screening for, right? So select the existing, or obviously add. Do the front load of all of the initial process of identifying what property you're going to put into the platform, right? As an example, if you get a lease listing and you're ready to put it on the MLS, you want to make sure you're set up with the RentSpree, so that way when agents are looking at all of your lease, and I'm going to show you an example when we jump on C.A.R. MLS, how that navigates as well, okay? So let me just use this property on 4614. Then you go to the next. Then it says new income and verification report. Again, that's an additional cost, but it gives you a sample of what that looks like. Based on this income verification, the applicant's name, the address, the date range, historic annual income. Okay. So it gives you kind of a general report of the individual or individuals. Okay. If they have any summary of accounts. So it attaches your social security, right? So a lot of the information that is pulled through RentSpree is based on the name, date of birth, and social security, and it provides additional resources and the ability to ultimately make a decision to rent or not to rent to this individual based on, certain criteria. Okay. Now, I believe that this is an additional fee to add this enhancement as part of the income report. All right, so then now it's the selected process and the options, right? Select who will be paying the application fee. Is it going to be you as the agent or if it's going to be the applicant? Well, in this case, it's obviously going to be the applicant. Select the application type. What kind of a type of application? Is it just a generic rental application or is it the California rental application form LRA, right? So I've clicked this. So you can toggle here, you can toggle here, or you can say no application. We want reference checks and select an application. So it has different options. Then the next is the obvious screening reports. What do you want? What do you not want as part of the process here, right? So here, the credit report and score includes applicant identity verification, eviction related proceeds if there is any court based on their social security, the name, date of birth, if they've ever been or there's a pending eviction process, then it would show up as part of the report, which is a good thing to have, right? Because sometimes they're not going to tell you, hey, I've been evicted. And how important is that? Because that's something that you need to relay that information to the landlord because it's crucial and vital, right? Because that may happen again with this particular property as well. So,
Simon,
yes.
would this also include fraudulent?
Fraudulent, tell me a little bit more. I don't think it does fraudulent, like if it checks for fraudulent stuff.
Yeah, because,
It
now,
may, it may, under criminal background check, it may just do that. I'm not 100% sure if it does or it doesn't. But if there is a conviction, and I believe if it's a misdemeanor or a felony, it'll pop up as that. If it's public information, then if it's fraudulent and they've been convicted of a fraud, then I believe that the system will pick it up. Okay. I don't know. I haven't experienced that yet, so I'm not 100% sure if it does. And I don't have any samples to it. And maybe Rosie can chime in if she's seen something like that.
I
But
have seen when somebody has been either convicted of a crime, I have seen that in there. Sometimes even when they stop you for speeding, I have seen that one in there lately. So I just wanted to let you know.
even
oh,
speeding tickets,
Yeah, when you have
wow,
been, yeah, so I saw like one or two, it's not often. I didn't see it before, but I see one. And I don't know
now,
if they
oh,
were going like 100 miles an hour or something. Maybe it's there, so maybe it's all
now
depends.
we're talking reckless driving.
Yeah, so I think it's probably was that, yeah.
the only reason why I ask is because of there's so much fraudulent social securities being put out there to obtain apartments
Right.
or condos. It's it's never ending, and you don't know until sometimes it will tell on the report, that their social security is not correct.
Mhm.
It won't say they're being fraudulent, but it's like you need to make that other step to take a look at the social, which in if that case, it usually was fraudulent. But I
Right.
just wondered if it would show up as that. Um,
That's a very good question. Again, the only way is actually doing a real live scenario, right? Where we get an applicant, run their check and see how it shows. But unfortunately, it's not gonna be something I can do as, it's just a presentation and how to navigate the RentSpree platform. But also you can toggle and check or uncheck if you want a certain thing or if you want all. This is again the income verification report. It's a new feature as part of RentSpree. It is an additional $10, and that again could be charged with the applicant that's submitted the application. I know we had a question on Zoom. I think Monica, you had the questions regarding that an applicant wants only one person. Now, here's my concern with that. And again, it's all based on your client, right? At the end of the day, it's what the client wishes for you to do as part of the initial process, because there is a process. Her question here is that she came across a husband and wife and a child that the wife wants to do the rent spree, but refusing to do the husband. due to too much dollar per applicant. Would you recommend this scenario? Is this even acceptable? Okay, so here's my thought. There's always something behind the scenes, and if someone is saying, well, it's because it's $45, $50, you know, I get it. It is a cost. The question is, I'd rather play it safe because what you should be doing on all your applications, remember, you're trying to take care of your client's best interests. And what if these applicants are up to no good? They're squatters, they're not going to pay, and ultimately are using that as a decoy, right? Now it makes us look pretty bad because we were the initial person that ultimately provided this platform. Now, my personal experience, you want to make sure that anyone that's 18 or older, that including children, do an application. Okay. So meaning that if they are going to live in the property, okay, if it's a husband and a wife and an adult child, 18 years or older, all three or all four that are going to be living should do a background check. Okay, because again, we don't know. Well, the question here is, well, they're not going to be paying rent, they're just going to be living with us. I get it and I understand that. But what if they do have some type of criminal history, right? That we're not aware of. This is why you want to double check, triple check, quadruple check that you have the right applicant for the right property. Now, with that being said, this is a disclaimer. We do not discriminate, okay? That's a violation. So all applicants, you treat them equally as they are the best applicant, right? This is why we have the screening process to eliminate the good from the bad. Very simple. And we use these type of third-party sites to identify and make sure that these are qualified applicants, right? And there's many variables and scenarios regarding an application, right? We look at a couple things, right? Employment. Do they have a job? How many people are going to be living in the premises? How many are adults? How many are child? Okay, what type of work do they do, right? We need to know what type of work they do, right? What is their income, right? What is their income is important because if a rent is $5,000, $7,000, or $8,000, but they only make a total of $5,000, there's a discrepancy on that, right? They're not going to be able to meet the expectations of the rent, and more so their living expenses, right? Because there's still utilities, there's automobile insurances, there's food, there's so many other things that we don't know, right? We're just focusing on the applicant and the rent, right? And this is why this is one good platform. And there's other ones that you can use, but this is, again, most real estate agents use this as an initial process to ultimately screen out. Now, going back to Monica's question, and it's a great question, I would say, you know, anyone that's 18 or older, you want to run an application, okay? And if they don't, that to me is an alert. Something is not necessarily suspicious, but it is kind of suspicious that they don't want to do the application because of a cost. Well, okay, I completely understand that, but you know, this is what we do in order to screen the applicant to make sure that they are the most qualified. Because at the end, what you want is the most qualified applicant that's not going to have any issues whatsoever. And there's always going to be a risk. With any tenant, there's always a risk, right? They may have a squeaky clean application process, good credit, you know, no background issues, no eviction issues, everything goes good, and they can still be really bad tenants, right? But it's, again, it's just another layer of protection that ultimately, when you give the packet to the owner makes the ultimate last decision if they're going to lease it out to or month to month to this particular applicant or applicants. Make sense? Okay.
May I add to that?
Yes, please, Rosie, please do so.
Yeah, when people come to lease any particular property and you're going to screen, you have to be consistent with everyone. Because sometimes you have people that come over that are not applicants, they are from the government, and they are looking and see how you approach each particular individual. So you don't be consistent, then you can be an issue in there. Secondly, yes, you are in charge, so you have to say these are the rules. I have to follow the rules with my clients, and I have to be consistent with everyone. Because if you rent someone and they say that they are not in the application and something goes out and they leave and you have somebody in the.
Yes. What happened, Rosie?
Oh, I'm sorry. So if the person is staying in the property and it's not in the application or in the contract, then how you're gonna get them evicted?
That's right, yeah. And it's crucial, remember, you're not in the property management if you're not a licensed real estate broker. Rosie is obviously a licensed real estate broker. She practices property management under her account, which is a different thing. But for the most of us, we're only there to help the seller, or excuse me, the landlord rent out their place, or the tenant and obtain a place where they can rent, right? And then that's where it stops. But there's also components of documentations, right, that we must do, disclosures we must provide, exchange of information between the landlord and the tenant, but then that's again where it kind of stops and we're done, right? Then we move on to the next one. Now, when it comes to leases and all that, there's really not much money involved. It's sometimes a lot of paper pushing and ultimately trying to find. Zinka, you know exactly what I'm talking about, but you did a great job and got it to the finish line, right? But it ultimately was a roller coaster ride, the ups and downs, but we finally got it done and got at least to a good applicant. So thank you, Rosie, again for sharing all this information. All right, so then once the application options are selected, then it'll tell you what the screening fee is. In this case here is $39.99, $40. Then you go to next. And then here it says your application link is ready to share, right? So now you have a couple components here. Request application, the applicant's email or text. You can share the link as well. So if you want, you can just copy and then it'll provide you with this link. So if I was to copy this as an example, right, and open up a new window, put this in here, click enter, this is what it would show. Submitted your application, and this is the property. At your own pace, you can pause and resume your application as you need. When applying for the same household, each applicant needs to do the separate with their own email address and then the screening fee to start. Then the applicant will receive this link. You click on apply, and then it'll take you through the steps of the initial process. Okay, so the application, and this is your job to set it up. Remember, if there's two adults, you need to get their full name and their email address. It cannot be one email address for two applicants, okay? Because the system will not recognize you have to have two separate. And if they don't have an email, then help them create one, okay? Through Gmail, you can create an email, but it coincides with the applicants involved in this, right? So now let's go ahead. I got all of the information, the steps. Step one is rental specifics and specifications to it, rental application. And the application credit check is through TransUnion and all the fun stuff. So it says apply to more homes in the next 30 days. Yes, I want to resume my application. So if you're looking to possibly think that you may be looking for other applications or submissions of homes, you may want to get this additional process because most agents use RentSpree, and you may not get the first property, right? And you may have to do 2, 3, 4, 5 applications before you get your application accepted, right? So with that is an option, it'll recognize, so it's not, because all of the applications are a soft pull, I believe, on your credit check, so it doesn't really deem your credit report, because every time someone pulls your application, or excuse me, your credit check, it does typically do a hard pull on your credit, and your FICO score gets dropped, right? So in this instance, by doing this, it'll alleviate some of the hard increase on your credit app. Okay, so no, I'm not applying for anywhere else bingo, then you make a decision. So I'll click no on this, and it goes back to $39.99. Then I start the actual application. Then the application information. How are you applying? Well, I'm applying as a tenant or as a co-signer or a guarantor, right? Well, as a tenant, what is the desired move-in? So we'll say that move-in, it will be, let's say, April 1st, right? Should already know what the rent is. If you don't, then you can ask, but let's just say, as an example, the rent is 5,500. Are you being represented by a renter agent? If the answer is yes, then you put in the agent's information. If the answer is no, then you just say no and then save and go to the next. Okay, so the next, it'll say, will you be living with other tenants? And the answer is yes. It's going to ask for the information of the additional tenants, right? And it also says, is this person over 18 years or old? Okay. If it is not, then you uncheck it. But if it is, then you leave it checked, right? Because we're going to verify. If someone is 17 years old, is that an adult? No, right? But if they're 18 years of age, then yes. Now, the question I get this quite often is, what if their birthday and they turn 18 next month? Do they need to know? They're not 18, so therefore they're not considered an adult. Okay, so even if it's the next day, if they're applying the application, okay, it's kind of, you got to feel that scenario, right? If you know that the birthday is the following day, you may want to, them to do a credit check the following day, and the system will populate a report. Okay, so then you'll put in, if it's a significant other, such as a wife or husband, you're going to put their information and their email as well. Are you applying with any guarantee or co-signing, right? If you are co-signing for someone, then you would put their information, you say yes, and again, name, last name, and email. Okay. Then we save this. Let's go back, no to that. Then we go to save and go to next. Now, just make sure that everything is good. Again, this is in the eyes and the view of the applicant. Okay, this is the tenant doing the initial process. Okay, so once it shows green here, then we have completed section 1. Now we go into section 2, which is the rental application. So then we click on continue. And now it's going to ask for your personal information, date of birth, and all that fun stuff. So let's just kind of go through the motions and see. And I'll just use this as a date of birth. Okay, so it's telling me I'm not old enough yet. All right, so let's go 6/21, 1990. Okay, as an example, we'll save. And then it asks for your government issued driver's license or ID. And then issuing state, obviously you would put California. Photo ID, what type? It's driver's license. And then the license number. And the expiration is 6/20/26 as an example, right? Then it goes into the personal information, any emergency, right? And if you see here, it's this is a required, right? If you see the little asterisk there in red, that means and you must fill it in, right? So then you would add the information of any emergency contact. Let's just go, it's friend. Okay, and see if it saves. Okay, the next is your current residence. Do you rent or own your current residence? Well, I currently rent as an example, and I'm going to use, as again, just as an example. Then it goes into the date of residence. How long have you lived at that place? Well, I've lived there since 02/05/2017 until currently live there. So you would just check there. So 217. Oops, 217. It's going to ask the reason why you're leaving that place, right? We'll just say rent increase. Rent increase, made me, force me out to find a new place. Okay. And again, if you check this, I'm currently still living there, so then you don't have to add anything. Then you go ahead and save. Then it goes into the rental information. What is your monthly fee? Who is the landlord property manager involved? So again, if you know that information, then you would put it. I would say Rosie. And then you would put, Rosie's email as an example, and then just the phone number. Okay, you go ahead and save. Okay, then it goes, did you rent or own your previous, so rent, and then it's gonna ask the information of where you rent. I think it had me do the same thing. Let's see. Okay, so date of residence, previous residence from, okay, so it's asking me like if I, oh, because it probably what it does, it looks at everything in the last maybe 5 or 10 years. So let's put a, let's go something where I've been there since 20, say 02, 20, 2000 until 02, 20, 20. Let's see what it does. Okay, so it goes through the motions of it. Let's just try again. Okay, then from there, let's go to save. Then it goes into your current employment and income. What is your current work status? So it's a very detailed process, right? It doesn't just say, here, give me your information. It's asking all of the information for the purpose of evaluating and bringing the information to you and also the landlord so they can make a decision and ultimately if they're going to rent or lease the property. So I'm currently work status, I'm employed, then it goes into your employment. So I'll just say my employment is city of Torrance as an example. I am a what do I say?
Manager.
There you go. Thanks, Rosie. I'm a manager and my gross income is 12.5 a month. And I've been there since let's say 2/20. So pushing my 25 years, currently employed, and then it goes into, again, who's your supervisor and all that fun stuff, right? And again, I'm just using this as an illustration and example. So just for you get an idea of what it looks like behind, right? What was your previous work status? Employed. Okay, then it goes again through the motions and we'll just go through the same process again. Okay. In the hopes that it allows me to continue. So I apologize if it doesn't, because I'm just making a mock sample of it. Make sense? Okay, so let's see if it goes through. Okay, then the next goes into your credit information. Credit information is optional. Okay, so if you want to really enhance your position and have a strong application, then I would encourage put in the information. But it also says that it's optional. So let's see if it allows me to skip it and save. Yep. Okay. So the next is your branch information. Again, it's optional. I'm going to go ahead and skip. Then it's going to ask you for nearest relatives. Okay. So nearest relatives. So here you're going to put in the information of anyone that is near to you and put their information and save. Okay, I'll just say brother.
Twin brother.
I know. And then we'll put Simon again. No, we say personal references. My apologies. Okay, then the next is your personal reference. And here it says, you know, any pro tips. You can also says, please make sure that to let the person know you are listing them on your rental application. So if anyone that you're going to reference, and I'm not saying you in general, but if you are representing a tenant, you know, tell them, hey, the application may ask for references. Please make sure you let them know because they may do a spot reference check and call your reference to make sure they know you personally. Okay, so that way the person is aware, hey, I better call, let's just say, you know, Rosie as an example. Hey, Rosie, this is Simon. If it's okay with you, I put you as a reference. You may be getting a call from either the agent or from the landlord or the property manager. You know, just wanted to let you know I'm applying for a rental out here in the city of Torrance.
No problem.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Then you go to next, what is their occupation? We'll just say, yeah, right. We'll just say,
Driver.
a truck driver. Truck driver. We'll just say truck driver as an example. Okay, then it goes into the next additional information. Do you have any pets? Okay, the answer is no pets. And if you do yes, then it's going to ask what the pet information, pet name, type of breed, and the weight. Okay, so we're going to say no. Do you have any vehicles? Okay, if you say yes, then it's going to ask for the make, model, year, color, license plate, and state. Okay. Do you have any of your co-applicants plan to use liquid fill furniture? What does that mean? Water beds. I haven't seen a water bed since the 1980s. I own one, so I know. So the answer is no on that. Have you been a party to an unlawful detainer action or filed bankruptcy within the last 7 years? If you put yes, it's going to ask you for an explanation. If you say no, then you skip and go to the next. Have you or any of your co-applicants ever asked to move out of a residence? If you say yes, then it's going to ask for an explanation. If you say no, then it goes on to the next one. Have you or any of your co-applicants ever been convicted or plead no contest to a felony? Okay. If you say yes, it's going to ask for an explanation. If you say no, then you go on. Okay. Save and finish. Okay, so we just completed rental specifics and then rental application as part of the process. And now it goes into the TransUnion screening, right? Here it says the TransUnion credit report and score, TransUnion criminal background check, TransUnion eviction related proceedings. And then you go, again, if you're going to go with the optional, then it's an additional $15. You go ahead and start. Then it has you do a quick rental agreement, mandatory terms for each consumer agreement. It's basically just a common general terms. Most people don't read it. They just go through it and they agree, continue. And now it's the personal information, you know, so go through the motions of the personal information. And then this is where your social security information goes. Okay, TransUnion is unable to generate a screening report without a social security or an I-10. So even if they don't have a social security, you can also include an I-10 verification. It'll verify their social security information here. The most recent address where you lived in the last 2 or more years, you're going to put that address and then you continue. Okay. So this is where I cannot continue, but that's kind of the elements of what the application process looks like. Okay. Questions regarding this? Okay, so then let me go back to the screening of my dashboard. And what's going to happen is once the application has been completed, I will get notification that the applicant or applicants have already submitted that request, and now I'm gonna get the full report. And the reason you have the landlord in there, because they also will get a copy of what you're getting from the applicant. Okay, so if it's one applicant, two applicants, or two husband and wife and an adult child, then you're going to get all of the reports. Okay, and once you get that report, then it'll give you, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rosie. Not sure if you're still on here or not, but
Yes.
once they receive the report, it's a very detailed report.
Yes, they
Okay,
usually get all the information. I usually ask them, make sure that they get the employer's documentation or employer's name and phone number because they verify the employment and also the tenancy. And then once it's there, then they will tell you what are their liabilities, how much is their credit report, if they have late payments, bank, BKs are in there even in 10 years. I have seen that one as well. And then they
okay.
tell you if they have any eviction or any, and it's pretty simple. I like this one because it doesn't have like 20 pages, usually maybe 5 pages or something like that. It's easier to read.
Got it. It's been a while since I've seen the application reports, but it also gives you if they're a good candidate to rent or not to rent.
No,
And
you have to make the decision.
okay, so you have to. So it doesn't say this is a good applicant to rent.
No,
Okay,
you have to review everything and then make the decision.
So,
got it.
excuse,
That's
I have
in
a
the-
question. I have
Yes.
a que- So also with that, Rosie, with the landlord, is there a certain credit criteria that they go by? Is it individual like landlord?
Well, if you are not a property manager, you go by the individual landlord. Like some people don't want pets. Some people said, I want a FICO score that is going to be 680. So you
Yes,
have to get that, But now if you're the property manager, then we have some criteria that we follow.
all right. And also for the pet, is there an additional, at that time, is there additional charge for pets usually? Or is
Yeah.
it usually included in the rent?
No.
Additional, right?
The question now, Rosie, is there additional pet fee or no?
Yeah, you can ask for a pet fee as long as it's not more than 1 month rent.
Got it. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
However, if somebody says, oh, I have an emotional dog, you cannot discriminate and say, no, we don't allow dogs. Anything that is emotional or you have to follow the ADA. So if somebody asks you, they say, yeah, we follow the ADA. So it's emotional dog, then you ask for,
You asked for the documentation, correct?
yeah. Unless it's like you have somebody with a wheelchair and have a dog, more likely, you know that probably they're going to need it because then maybe are blind or, but most of the time you can ask. But you cannot ask for a deposit for emotional dog or dogs that, are needed. I don't remember right now the name of it. Yeah, but you cannot ask
Right,
for fees for that, for those.
right, right. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you, Rosie. Thank you, Teresa. So the next is when you're actually on the MLS. Okay, so let's go do a lease search. We're going to go to residential lease. And I want to see what's active. I want single family residence. And again, just for the sake of today's class, I'm just going to use city of Torrance as an example. It tells me that there's 20 properties currently available, so I'll do a results to it, and then here are all of the properties that are available right now. Okay. Now, most don't use RentSpree as a link to it, so I'm going to show you a couple things, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay. So let's find one that actually does have where they have it as part of their link. Oops. My apologies. What happened here? Technology, you gotta love it. Let me go back, see if it takes me back. Okay, so here's one as an example. Okay, so this property on Dale Mead Street in the city of Torrance, it's currently renting for $39.50. Okay. You see down here just below the map, or yeah, you see where it says online rental application. When you click on that, this means that this individual real estate agent used RentSpree to use as part of the application. Okay, and it looks the same as we did with the website in general, right? It'll take you through the same process, okay, like we did. Does this look familiar? Okay, so the cool thing is you can link your account to MLS, right? The other platform that you can use is if you fail to forget, you can also put it on agent remarks, okay? And then you can put the link there. Remember how we navigated the link? Okay, remember this? Copy link. Then you go here and then you go into your MLS and then you put it in private remarks. And then you can just say, please make sure to click on the link and submit your application through RentSpree. Okay, that's the other way that you can do it, and you would be still in compliance. But this is again, when you are going through the motions of leasing an app, it'll ask you, do you want to merge your RentSpree account? Then you say yes. And then when you say yes, then it'll automatically create this this link here. So anyone that's looking, right, if it's an agent or if it's an applicant and they want to see this property and ultimately it hits everything that they want to rent this place, right? Then they can start the initial application process. Okay. And then lastly, let me go back here. Oops. Go back here. Then you go to your transactions, right? Through zip forms, you log in to your account. Continue. Okay, and then this will take you into your actual zip forms. And then here is where you can actually create your file, right? If you're working with a tenant or if you're working with a landlord, then you actually create it, right? You just go to new. What type of file do you want to create? Well, it's a new lease, okay? And then you just go through the motions of filling out the information, okay? And then what type of property is it, right? Is it residential?
Multi-unit.
Okay, so then you put on multi-unit. I don't, where does it have? Okay, there you go. So if it's a multi-unit, then you go through it and then you just save it. So then when you save it, then it creates obviously your file here. And then here is, you know, some of the stuff that you can do. You can connect the actual lease listing on the MLS, so that way it merges and coincides with all this. And now here is where you can actually generate an ad. I don't think I have it added here, but if I click here, it'll go to my marketplace here, and then I believe you just got to find RentSpree. Okay, so here you go, send to RentSpree, and then it merges RentSpree with zip forms. I haven't done this yet, but you know, again, it's a simple process to navigate that. And now you have it on zip forms, you have it on the MLS, and you also can go straight to RentSpree and create that file. But you have to first register your account. First, if you have not logged in, you create your username and password, usually your email address and a password, and then you have access to all this information. Okay, with that being said, it's 11:31. Any final questions before we close out? I know it was a lot of information, guys.
I just
Okay.
want to let them know that once you accept an application, the RentSpree has automatic letters, and you can send the acceptance through the RentSpree, which is pretty nice. You don't have to type anything. Just say, you know, accept. If you decline, then you decline the reason why.
Got it. Okay. So you're saying that the system allows you to send a notification to the applicant if their application was reviewed, is in review, or if it was declined,
No, accepted or decline.
accepted or declined. Okay. So if the application is accepted, then they'll get a notification that their application was accepted. And then obviously there's follow-up paperwork, disclosures, and all that fun stuff. If it was declined, does it give you a reason of what it's declined, or
They
it's
give
just,
you different reasons, and then what I usually do to be safe, I put among several applications, which shows the best application. Thank you. I keep
okay,
it very simple.
Very simple, clean and concise. Love that. Okay, well, again, that concludes today's class. If you do have any additional questions, please don't hesitate. There's a lot of videos and content. You can just go to RentSpree, and I believe on RentSpree it also has videos and Q&As as well. With that being said, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Have a
Simon.
wonderful
This was
afternoon.
great.
Thank,
Thanks.
thank you. Have a great weekend, everyone, and I'll see you on the next contract class, and that'll be in April. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.